Heyo! If you haven't already, be sure to check out my review of Dragon Ball Super Episode 63. If you're a Vegeta fan, then you're gonna love it.
I just want to make it clear that now that Crunchyroll has the rights to quote-unquote simulcast Dragon Ball Super every Saturday night, it's going to be a lot easier for me to get these videos out, so expect them a lot sooner than usual. With that out of the way, last week's episode of Dragon Ball Super ended in the way that I wanted it to end for so long, and I'm glad they ended it the way it did. And thankfully, that's exactly where this episode picks up from, with Vegeta beating the shit out of Zamasu, aka Goku Black, whatever you want to call him at this point. And Goku Black just keeps telling Vegeta that he's only an appetizer and that he's not actually the main course or fight or whatever, you know what I mean? And Vegeta just doesn't care about any of that. He's still beating the crap out of him. He sends him flying to the ground. Goku Black just kind of laughs it off, but then he looks up and gets hit with a gigantic ki blast. But then Vegeta looks down, he's like, "Now I know that blast isn't enough to take you down. Get up." As Black gets back up into the sky, he begins to realize that anger is the reason why Trunks was able to power up so well and why Vegeta was able to power up so well. So Goku Black uses this to his advantage, and he uses anger to get stronger. And the Psionic Blade, coined by Geekdom 101, or the Ki Blade that Zamasu, Goku Black, was using for so long, he ends up stabbing it into his own hand. And Vegeta ends up looking at him like, "What the hell are you doing?" Then he pulls it out, and it turns out that he was able to take that Ki Blade and turn it into a Ki Scythe. You know, like the frickin' Green Reaper. And he goes to hit Vegeta, but Vegeta ducks, and Vegeta goes, "Nice try. That you think that was enough to take me down?" And then Vegeta has to, like, cut himself off as he looks over at the sky, and there's this huge rift that scythe created. It's a huge rift. And Vegeta's like, you know, "What is that?" Goku Black's like, "I don't even know what that is. That's how powerful I've gotten." Goku Black is amazed by his own power, and so is Zamasu, as Zamasu basically just laughs it off. He's like, "Wow, what power. Who would have thought a god could get so strong?" Or, you know, stuff like that. You know, he lets his guard down. He goes, "It's astonishing, isn't it, Son Goku?" And as he turns around, Goku clocks him right in the face and says, "You left yourself open." So Goku and Zamasu punch each other, like fist to fist, like Beerus and Goku did earlier on in the Battle of Gods arc. And they hit so hard that it knocks Mai off of a building that she's standing on, and it shakes like the whole future Earth. It's crazy. Trunks comes out of Capsule Corp to see if she's alright, but she ends up saying that she's fine. And Trunks is like, "Well, how are my dad and Goku doing?" So she uses her binoculars to see, and as she zooms in, she sees that future Zamasu is heading right for them. So she begins to, you know, like, freak out, like, "Oh, why could he be heading here?" And future Trunks ends up wanting to leave to, you know, hold him off. And then future Mai's like, "Well, you could get killed." And then future Trunks, you know, he says, "That's the only way." Then that's when Bulma steps in and says, "There may be another way," and that's the Mafuba. And then future Trunks is like, "Well, we need Goku for that." And then Bulma's like, "No, we don't. You can learn it." And then future Mai and Trunks are just baffled. They're like, "What?" While all this is going on, we see Goku and Vegeta are about to fight off against Black, but it turns out they're not only just fighting one Black, they're fighting several Goku Blacks. Because I guess that rift is creating a bunch of, like, Majin Buu-esque, like, Puff clones or whatever. It's kind of weird, hard to explain. But they're just like Zamasu clones, you know. It's kind of funny seeing Goku and Vegeta go up against an enemy that's essentially the same, you know, similar to how it was in the Return of Cooler movie. God, I hate that movie. Vegeta tells Goku to just, you know, use his instantaneous movement or instant transmission to find Trunks and go save them from future Zamasu. But Goku can't, and the way the show's showing it off is that there's too much interference from that rift. So Trunks is trying to practice the Mafuba and, like, what kind of pose he needs to do in order to seal Zamasu in it. He's doing all these poses. He does the Great Saiyaman pose. He does the Captain Ginyu pose, you know, where he's looking out his legs. Hilarious stuff. But thankfully, Bulma was able to record a video of Piccolo demonstrating the Mafuba. I'm guessing this is while Goku was mastering it at Master Roshi's. She ends up giving the video, I suppose, to Trunks, and then says that she's going to find a way to hold off Zamasu. Now, Trunks is reluctant, but then agrees, you know, a few seconds later. Oh, Trunks, 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 if only you knew, if only you knew. Because what's coming up next is something that Bulma's done in Dragon Ball for a long time. Zamasu lands in front of, you know, Bulma, and Bulma tries to seduce him. And it's hilarious. She gets up on him, starts rubbing his chest, like, in a circular motion. She's like, "Oh, man, if you're so strong, then I just might fall in love." Then she looks at him, and he's got this evil look on his face. He's like, "Nah, I ain't falling for that. No siree." Man, Zamasu don't play around, I'll tell you that much. Zamasu just does not care. He gives no fucks. So Future Trunks and Mai come outside, and they see that Zamasu has Bulma up by the shirt, and she's unconscious. This causes Trunks to get really mad and furious, and he goes into his I don't know what it's called. It's a Super Saiyan transformation, but it's got like blue aura, from the previous episode. I'd call it false Super Saiyan. No, it ain't false Super. I wish the show would give me something to call it. But Future Zamasu and Trunks have a bit of a standoff, and then Future Zamasu's like, well, if this is your idea of stalling, then I guess I have no choice. And then Future Trunks goes, take this, and then Zamasu's all confused, and then Trunks does the Mafuba, and it's actually really good because it's great to see this move back in action. Zamasu gets sucked up in the circular motion, and he's screaming and yelling, and all the voice filters on it are so good, really good. It makes you believe that he's in danger, and he gets sucked up into the jar, and Mai puts the lid on it, and Bulma gets up, and you think they're all right, and then Bulma says, all we need to do is put the seal on it. And then Future Trunks is like, great, where's the seal? And then Bulma's like, oh no. And then it turns out they left it in the past. And Master Roshi's calling Capsule Corp saying, you guys kind of forgot this. And then Krillin's panicking on the phone, and then Piccolo's like, that idiot. And you had him beat, but you had to forget the note. Good job, Bulma, good job. You just jeopardized the future even more so than you already had to. Good job! Zamasu's able to break out of the jar, and he goes up into the sky, and Goku Black notices that his ki kept fading in and out, and that now he's getting even weaker. So he teleports to his location, thus causing the rift and all the Goku Black clones to disappear. This then leads to Goku being able to use his instantaneous movement to get to Trunks. Him and Vegeta, of course, get to Trunks, and they're defending them, saying, step back, we'll take it from here. And Goku Black's like, look at what you've done to yourself. He's talking to Zamasu, of course. He's like, what's gotten into you? Future Zamasu ends up going, these humans aren't bugs. We shouldn't be playing around with them any longer. So then Goku Black and Zamasu both agree that there's no other choice but to fuse. They take off the Potara earrings, and they fuse. And it's actually a really cool scene. Although I will say that when they slam into each other, instead of how in the Buu Saga when Goku and Vegeta slam into each other to become Vegito, and they just kind of flash, here they slam into each other and they just spin in the air. It's a little weird, but I won't question it because what we get out of it is really badass. So I like this merged Zamasu, as they're calling it. I think the design is pretty cool, pretty badass looking. And I was discussing this with a friend, and that friend knows who he is. I just feel that the voice for him sounds a bit robotic. Now, granted, it does sound cool. I won't lie, it does sound cool, but it sounds a bit robotic for me. But who knows? At this point, it'll probably grow on me like the rest of this arc has. And that's how the episode ends, with merged Zamasu, as they're calling him right now, being the focal point. And oh man, I just cannot wait for the next episodes. It's going to get really intense real quick. Seeing this merged Zamasu is an obvious signifier that Goku and Vegeta are going to have to fuse again and bring back Vegito. Vegito is a character I've been wanting to see again for a long, long time. He is a very strong, very powerful, very cocky character, and he's not overly cocky like someone like Gotenks. Vegito can at least back it up, whereas Gotenks was kind of cocky just to be cocky. I cannot wait to see Vegito again. I'm going to be honest, if they don't do Vegito, then what the fuck are you doing? You have an enormous setup right here to bring back Vegito, and if you don't, that is the biggest missed opportunity I've ever seen since not putting Gohan back in the limelight. But yeah, overall, this was a good episode. Very good, if I might say. And I suggest you check it out. This is Gojira 2012 saying farewell for now.